American patriots today can sing, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty," only because our colonial ancestors first sang, "God save the King."
Many people see King Charles as a formal and traditional royal, known for grand ceremonies and carefully planned visits, but few expected him to make such a surprising move in Harlem. What began as a quiet day in the neighborhood quickly turned into an unforgettable moment. Reports reveal the king made a sudden, unannounced stop at a local community organization, leaving residents amazed. Curious reactions and new details are now emerging.
Excuse me. On or behind you, you cannot be sitting here. Excuse me.
So, what really happened during this unexpected visit? And why is everyone talking about it? King Charles. Visit to Harlem.
Camila became the first royal to visit the New York Public Library. This as King Charles went uptown to meet with the kids at an after-school urban farm program.
King Charles spent part of his busy day in New York City visiting the vibrant neighborhood of Harlem. At the same time, Queen Camila carried out her own separate engagements elsewhere in the city. The royal couple had arrived earlier that Wednesday morning after spending 2 days in Washington, D.C., marking the beginning of their official state visit to the United States. In the afternoon, at about 2 p.m. local time on April 29th, King Charles made a solo visit to an urban farm in Harlem. As soon as he arrived, he was warmly welcomed by Tony Hillary, the founder and chief executive of Harlem Grown. This organization is a nonprofit that focuses on helping young people grow, learn, and thrive by working on urban farms right in the middle of the city. The king was guided around the farm by members of Harlem Grown, along with a group of enthusiastic schoolchildren from Thurgood Marshall Lower Academy. As they walked together, he was shown many different parts of the farm, including raised garden beds filled with fresh plants, a greenhouse where crops are protected and nurtured, a tool shed, composting areas, chicken coops, and even buzzing beehives. All of this existed right in the middle of a busy city block, creating a surprising and refreshing green space surrounded by urban life. During the visit, there was a light-hearted and charming moment when one of the children turned to the king and said, "I like your hair." Amused, King Charles responded simply, "Do you? Good," showing his relaxed and friendly side. At 77 years old, King Charles showed genuine excitement when he came across the chickens. He eagerly spent time feeding them, clearly enjoying the moment. His interest made sense, as he personally keeps chickens back in the United Kingdom, where his flock lives in a coop humorously named Cluckingham Palace. In fact, he became so absorbed in the activity that Tony Hillary had to gently encourage him to move on and continue the rest of the tour. Before the visit ended, Hillary received a thoughtful and meaningful gift from the king, a jar of honey produced by bees kept at Highgrove House, one of the king's private residences. As King Charles prepared to leave, he took a few moments to greet members of the public who had gathered behind barricades to catch a glimpse of him. Shaking hands and smiling, he even joked with them, saying, "I'm sure I'm ruining your day," referring to the street closures and security arrangements that had been put in place for his visit. Earlier in the week, both King Charles and Queen Camila had been in Washington, D.C., where their schedule included a formal dinner at the White House hosted by Donald Trump and Melania Trump, as well as a historic address delivered by the king to Congress. So, was King Charles impressed at the White House state dinner? Is it something he hasn't seen before? Let's find out. Charles's memorable state dinner experience. King Charles III revealed a charming and very human side of himself during his recent visit to the United States, especially when he spoke about something that truly delighted him: music. One particular moment stood out from his busy schedule, and it came from the elegant atmosphere of a White House state dinner. On Wednesday, April 29th, the king stepped into the iconic Rockefeller Center in New York City for an important trade and business gathering.
King Charles and Queen Camila have arrived at the White House for the start of their 4-day state visit to the US. After being greeted in front of the cameras on the steps outside, an official picture has been released of them
The event brought together 12 of the most influential chief executives from both the United States and the United Kingdom. Among them was Stephen Schwarzman, the chairman and chief executive officer of the powerful investment firm Blackstone. During their brief but lively conversation, King Charles shared a personal highlight from the previous evening. Referring to the state dinner held on Tuesday, April 28, 2026, he told Schwarzman that he had been so impressed by the music performed by military bands. It was not just polite praise. It was clear that the performance had genuinely moved him, and the evening had featured talented musicians from different branches of the U.S. military, including the Marines, Army, and Air Force. Their performance added a sense of grandeur and tradition to the occasion, something the king clearly appreciated. This admiration for music comes as no surprise. King Charles has long been known as a lover of the arts, especially classical music. His deep appreciation goes back many years and has even influenced family events. For instance, in 2018, during the wedding of his son, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle, he played a meaningful role in helping select the music. Meghan herself later spoke about this experience in a recording displayed at Windsor Castle. She explained that they worked closely with Charles, who was then known as the Prince of Wales, and praised his incredible taste, especially when it came to classical pieces. According to her, the process of choosing the music together was not just productive, but also enjoyable and memorable. The king's current visit to the United States, alongside his wife, Queen Camila, is a significant one. It is a 4-day trip designed to mark an important historical milestone, the 250th anniversary of American independence from Britain. This anniversary adds a layer of symbolism to the visit, reflecting both the long history and the modern friendship between the two nations. The journey began on Monday, April 27, 2026, when the royal couple arrived in Washington, D.C., where they were warmly welcomed by President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. The following day, April 28th, marked a historic moment as King Charles became only the second British monarch to address a joint meeting of the United States Congress. The first was his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, making the occasion even more meaningful as it echoed a moment from the past. By Wednesday, April 29th, the royals had moved on to New York City for a packed day of engagements. Their schedule began with a solemn visit to the National September 11th Memorial, where they honored the victims ahead of the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, a moment of reflection that resonated deeply with both nations. Later in the day, the king and queen went their separate ways to attend individual events. King Charles visited Harlem Grown, a local initiative focused on urban farming and community development. Meanwhile, Queen Camila attended a literary celebration at the renowned New York Public Library, highlighting her passion for reading and education. So, what did the king say to the Congress? Did he remind them of the current situation in the world? Let's take a closer look. King Charles' address to Congress. King Charles III recently delivered a powerful and carefully worded speech at the United States Capitol, where he addressed a joint meeting of Congress on April 28th as part of his state visit to the United States. During his remarks, the monarch suggested that the world today feels more uncertain, unstable, and dangerous than it did in earlier decades, including the time when his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, last spoke to Congress in 1991. His speech carried both historical reflection and a warning about the present. He reminded lawmakers that Britain and the United States have long stood side by side in moments of global crisis. To illustrate this, he looked back even further in history, mentioning his grandfather, King George VI, who became the first British monarch to visit the United States in 1939. At that time, Europe was facing the rise of fascism, and tensions were building toward a global conflict that would become World War II. The king noted that although the situation was extremely tense, the cooperation between nations with shared values eventually helped overcome that dark period. Building on this historical comparison, King Charles emphasized that shared principles such as democracy, freedom, and cooperation remain just as important today as they were in the past. However, he stressed that the current global environment is even more unpredictable and fragile. He described the present era as more volatile and more dangerous than the early 1990s, when Queen Elizabeth II last addressed Congress. In that earlier speech, delivered in 1991, the world was also undergoing major changes, including the end of the Cold War. But King Charles suggested that today's challenges are even more complex and widespread. He warned that no single nation can face the modern world's problems alone. Issues such as international conflicts, political tensions, and global instability require countries to work together more closely than ever before. According to him, long-standing alliances, especially the relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States, should not be taken for granted. Instead, they must be actively maintained and strengthened. He made it clear that history and tradition alone are not enough to guarantee stability in the future. To reinforce this idea, King Charles quoted British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who recently described the UK-US relationship as an indispensable partnership. The King agreed with this view, stressing that both nations should not ignore the foundations that have supported their cooperation for the past 80 years. Instead, he urged leaders to build upon those foundations and adapt them to modern challenges. He became only the second British monarch ever to address the U.S. legislature, following in the footsteps of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Where else in the U.S. did King Charles visit? And how was he received? Let's find out. Sophisticated arts reception at Christie's. Just one day after delivering a major speech to the United States Congress and attending a formal dinner at the White House, King Charles III made another unexpected and closely watched appearance in New York City on Wednesday. This time, he and Queen Camila arrived at the famous Christie's auction house for a special evening event linked to charity and youth support. The royal couple reached Christie's headquarters at around 5:30 in the evening. They were not there to buy or bid on any of the high-priced artworks going up for auction, even though some of the pieces on display were worth huge sums of money. For example, one painting by Jackson Pollock was valued at around $100 million, and another by Roy Lichtenstein was estimated at about $60 million. Instead of shopping for art, the King and Queen were attending a gala in support of the King's Trust, a charitable organization that helps young people from struggling backgrounds learn new skills and find employment opportunities. Ahead of the royal visit, some Christie's employees had even been told to rehearse formal royal greetings such as curtsies, just in case they were needed. That preparation turned out to be useful. A photograph taken by Reuters and later published by the New York Post showed Christie's chief executive officer Bonnie Brennan performing a curtsy as she greeted the King while holding his hand on the red carpet outside the building. After entering the building through the main lobby, the King and Queen toured several gallery spaces. These rooms displayed important artworks and highlighted major pieces that will be part of the upcoming May auctions. Among the collections featured were works from the Aggie Gund collection and the S.I. Newhouse collection. One painting by Pierre-Auguste Renoir was also on display, with an estimated value ranging between $25 million and $35 million. According to someone who witnessed the visit, the royal guests were especially impressed with Christie's new auction podium. This podium had first been introduced in London in March and is expected to make its New York debut during the major auction events in May. It is made from sustainably sourced oak wood and was designed by Johnny Ive, the British-American designer best known for his work at Apple. He also created the official emblem used during the King's coronation ceremony. The evening gala was co-chaired by Lionel Richie, the well-known American singer and songwriter who has won multiple Grammy Awards. Other high-profile guests included lifestyle expert Martha Stewart and former Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Dinner took place in the elegant James Christie Room, a space known for hosting intense bidding wars over valuable art. During the event, King Charles spoke to the guests about how important it is to support young people who are facing difficult life challenges. He emphasized the role of charities like the King's Trust in giving them hope and opportunities. At one point, a group of children and teenagers wearing red T-shirts were invited to receive awards and take photographs, adding a warm and emotional highlight to the evening. Why did Camila visit the New York Public Library? Is she also a fan of art? Let's take a closer look. Camila at the New York Public Library. After spending time together on Wednesday, April 29th, at the National September 11th Memorial in New York City, King Charles III and Queen Camila continued their visit to the United States by taking separate official engagements across the city. This marked the second major city in their royal tour of the country, and both carried out different duties that reflected their individual interests and causes. Queen Camila took part in a special cultural event in New York City that celebrated the strong connection between the United States and the United Kingdom through literature and reading. The event was held at the famous New York Public Library, a place known around the world for its vast collection of books and its role in promoting education and culture. The Queen was there to highlight her personal charity project, the Queen's Reading Room, which encourages people of all ages to enjoy reading and discover the power of books. The gathering brought together well-known writers, book lovers, and public figures who all share a passion for storytelling and literacy. Among the guests was actress Sarah Jessica Parker, who is widely known for her role in Sex and the City and is also a strong supporter of reading and education. Speaking to reporters at the New York event, Parker expressed her admiration for the Queen's efforts to promote reading. She explained that every time someone shines a light on books and the way reading can change lives, build empathy, and encourage curiosity, it is something to be deeply thankful for. Other well-known figures at the event included fashion editor Anna Wintour and television host Jenna Bush Hager. Bush Hager shared her own impressions of the Queen, describing her as very funny and clever. She also revealed that she had first met Camila many years earlier, in 2005. According to her, what stands out most about the Queen is her genuine passion for reading, especially at a time when encouraging children to read is more important than ever. During the event, Queen Camila also took part in a special and symbolic gesture. She presented the New York Public Library with a missing stuffed toy from the Winnie the Pooh collection. This gift helped reunite the character Roo with its mother, Kanga, completing a meaningful set of beloved literary figures. These original stuffed animals were the inspiration behind A.A. Milne's famous Winnie the Pooh stories, which are cherished by children and adults around the world. The collection has been displayed at the main branch of the New York Public Library since 1987, and the return of the missing piece added a new chapter to its long and treasured history. The moment also carried extra significance because Winnie the Pooh is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, making the Queen's gesture a fitting tribute to a century of storytelling that continues to inspire imagination and love for reading across generations. What did it mean for the monarchy to say goodbye? Will he visit again during reign? Let's find out. A royal farewell in Washington. King Charles III and Queen Camila are now moving on to the next part of their official state visit after saying a warm goodbye to President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. On Thursday, April 30th, King Charles III, who is 77 years old, and Queen Camila, who is 78 years old, officially ended their time at the White House with the American President Donald Trump, who is 79 years old, and First Lady Melania Trump, who is 56 years old. The farewell moment took place in a formal but friendly atmosphere, marking the end of one important part of their visit to the United States. The Trumps personally welcomed the royal couple outside the White House earlier in the day. The leaders greeted each other in a respectful and warm way before pausing for a photo opportunity. Cameras captured the moment as both sides stood together, smiling and representing the strong diplomatic relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States. After the photos, the group moved inside the White House and met in the diplomatic reception room. This room is often used for official greetings and important meetings with visiting leaders. Inside, they exchanged further pleasantries and continued their discussions in a formal setting. The meeting reflected the importance of cooperation and friendship between the two nations, which share a long history of political, cultural, and economic ties. Following their time at the White House, King Charles III and Queen Camila left Washington, D.C. to continue their state visit in Virginia. Their schedule for the rest of the day included a series of planned engagements aimed at celebrating a major historical milestone for the United States. One of the key events they were expected to attend was a community block party organized to mark the 250th anniversary of America's independence. This celebration connects directly to the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, a document that marked the birth of the United States as an independent nation. The royal visit has been carefully planned around this historic anniversary, highlighting the shared history and evolving relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States over the past 2.5 centuries. The visit of King Charles III and Queen Camila to the United States has been described as a full and busy state visit, filled with official ceremonies, meetings, and cultural events. Their trip across the Atlantic shows the importance both countries place on maintaining strong diplomatic ties. It also provides an opportunity for public engagement, historical reflection, and celebration of shared democratic values. However, after wrapping up their time in the United States, King Charles will continue his journey. So, where is he heading next? Has he been there before? Let's find out. King Charles' departure to Bermuda. King Charles has now said goodbye to the United States after completing a busy and carefully planned visit. On April 30th, 2026, the monarch ended a 4-day stay in the country that was filled with meetings, public appearances, and official events. It was a fast-moving trip with very little time to rest, as he moved from one engagement to another alongside Queen Camila. On the final day of the visit, the king traveled from Virginia to Maryland. He arrived at Joint Base Andrews by helicopter after attending his last official engagement. The journey marked the final stop of his American schedule. When he reached the base, he stepped out calmly, walked up a set of stairs toward the aircraft waiting for him, and paused for a moment. Before boarding, he turned back to face the people present and gave a warm wave goodbye. That short gesture marked the end of his time in the United States. The departure was simple but symbolic, showing both respect and farewell to the country he had just visited. After boarding the plane, the king began the next part of his journey, continuing his official duties overseas. His next destination is Bermuda, where he will spend 2 days. This visit is especially significant because it is his first trip as reigning monarch to an overseas British territory. Bermuda is a self-governing British overseas territory, and the visit is meant to strengthen ties and highlight shared history and cooperation. Queen Camila, who had accompanied him during the United States visit, will not be traveling with him to Bermuda. She will remain behind after the American leg of the tour, marking a temporary separation in their official schedules. During his time in Bermuda, King Charles is expected to take part in a variety of events that focus on education, culture, and public service. One of the planned activities includes attending a classroom session organized by the Bermuda Zoological Society. This session is expected to highlight marine life, environmental protection, and conservation efforts in the region. He will also visit a museum exhibition that tells the story of Bermuda's long and complex history. This exhibition is designed to give a deeper understanding of the island's past, including its cultural development and its role in the wider Atlantic world. Another important moment of the trip will be the formal opening of the new Great Bay Coast Guard Station. This facility plays a key role in maritime safety, rescue operations, and protecting Bermuda's surrounding waters. However, The king's presence at the opening reflects the importance of security and cooperation in the region. Why is King Charles's state visit to the United States seen as the most critical and pressure-filled foreign trip of his reign? What does it mean for both Britain and the United States? Let's find out. A royal mission of peace. When Donald Trump described King Charles as fantastic and also called him a brave and great man, it sounded like more than just polite praise. The United States president also agreed that the royal state visit taking place this week could help calm tensions and improve the difficult relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. For many people watching closely in the days before this important trip, those warm words felt like a small moment of relief and hope. This comes at a time when global politics feels especially tense and unpredictable. The last time Donald Trump was officially hosted in the United Kingdom was in September 2025, when he and First Lady Melania Trump were welcomed at Windsor Castle. Since then, the political atmosphere between the two countries has changed sharply. What once felt like a steady alliance now feels more uncertain and strained. The situation has been made more complicated by disagreements between the US President and the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. The two leaders have clashed on several major issues. These include how closely the United Kingdom should stand with the United States in matters involving Iran, as well as ongoing arguments about immigration policies. On top of that, there are frequent questions from the American side about the future strength and purpose of the long-standing Atlantic Alliance, which has historically tied the two nations together in defense and diplomacy. Because of all this tension, the current state visit by King Charles III is being seen as something far more important than a simple ceremonial journey. According to former BBC anchor Laura Trevelyan, this visit may be the most high-stakes overseas visit of King Charles's reign so far. She explains that both London and Washington are currently divided on many serious global issues, including the wars in Iran and Ukraine, rising trade tariffs, and even the long-term direction of NATO. In this context, the king's role becomes especially significant. While he does not make political decisions, he is still seen as an important diplomatic figure who can help maintain respect and communication between countries. Trevelyan notes that this trip will test his abilities in a very public way. At the same time, it will also give him a chance to demonstrate the diplomatic skills he has developed over many years. Some observers even describe the king as having a reputation as a Trump whisperer, suggesting that he may have a special ability to build a calm and respectful connection with the American president. Whether or not that reputation holds true, this visit is clearly being watched closely around the world. Many hope it will help reduce tensions and remind both nations of their long-shared history and partnership, even in a time of uncertainty. So, what do you think about King Charles's historic visit to the United States? Do you believe it was necessary? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.